welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. This is just gonna be a little chat with me, a little life update, an honest life update. So get your tea, get your coffee, get your beverage of choice, get a snack, and yeah, let's just hang out together. I love just talking to you guys like a friend because I know it sounds cheesy, but I genuinely feel like you guys are my friends, and I love this community so much, and it is such a big part of my life, and I'm trying to learn how to navigate what that looks like in this season of my life. So I'm just gonna kind of get on into it. The past month has been really hard for me, and so this is just gonna be like a life update. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, share all the struggles that I've been walking through. It's gonna be a health update, a tumor update. I'm just gonna share it all because I've been really struggling honestly to navigate what it looks like to show up authentically on social media. It's something that can be such a struggle because in those moments where you're really struggling and you're already feeling emotionally exhausted, it's like a whole other level of emotional exhaustion to think about sharing that online. It's been a while since I've done a full update on my prolactinoma, which is a tumor in my pituitary gland. I kind of shared with you guys a video all about that journey when I was first diagnosed, and then it's just been an interesting journey, and it's been such a walk with the Lord, and I'm so thankful for it because I found a lot of refining and healing through it, but it's still hard for me sometimes. And the hardest thing for me has been that it's just a lot of waiting to see what my body does, trying something slightly different and waiting more. And it's something that, because it's not, which I'm so incredibly thankful for, but because it's not life-threatening, urgent, it can be managed with medication, it just feels like sometimes it's not taken very seriously. And it's just very much we'll just see, you could be on this medication for the rest of your life, and that's fine because it's managing your symptoms. And it's so that's my biggest frustration, right? I'll go to the doctor, I'll pay $70 copay to sit in the doctor's office, and all she says is, let's just wait 3 more months and we'll test it again. And it's that's it. I go in expecting answers, and also a lot of it gets left up to me. So I get told you could try this or you could try this. This is what could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen, and this could happen. And so whatever you want to do, we'll do. You can do. And it's I kind of just want you to be able to tell me what the best option is. But also I understand why they can't, because it is everybody's bodies are so different. So what works for me may not work for somebody else. So it's just this whole thing, right? And that's been very frustrating for me. I started the medication for my tumor back in I think late October. And so I started on this dose with this particular medication. You take half a pill twice a week, and that's usually what they'll start you out on. And so I started out on that. I started getting some side effects from it, my appetite was really off, started experiencing some very insane emotional swings back then, and I thought it had to do with the medication. So I talked to my doctor, and she was since it's working very well, we can try moving down to half a pill once a week, and we'll test everything again, I think in 3 months at that point. And so I was okay, sounds good. So this was in November, and so I did that. I went down, and then I didn't retest everything until February. And with this tumor, since it is a tumor that secretes a hormone, you can at least tell that it's not growing based on your blood work. So this particular tumor is a prolactinoma. It secretes excess prolactin, which is the hormone that produces breast milk when you're pregnant. So I joke with my sister-in-law, who just had a baby, my sweet new nephew, Simon. I joke, I'm if you ever need some more breast milk, I can just stop taking my medication, and eventually I'll be able to have some breast milk for you. It's the weirdest thing. But anyway, so I did that whole thing. February, got it retested. It had gone up a little bit. So within a month, when I first started taking the medication, my prolactin went from 97 down to 25, which 25 is like the highest normal range. And so it did that in like a month of taking it. So it was working really well as far as my prolactin levels go. So that's why we tried lowering the dose a little bit. And so in 3 months, it went from 25 to back up to 30, which again, that's not that big of a deal. That's not extreme. That was a very slow going up, but it was still not the direction that we wanted it to go. And it was still mildly elevated again, which is not what I want, especially if I want this tumor to shrink. So, but at that point we're like, well, let's just track the trends, come back in 6 weeks and test it again. I went back, it was a little higher again. So at that point, I kind of decided I wanted to try going back up on the medication. I thought maybe since I'd been taking it for like 6 months at that point, that my body would be a little more used to it. So maybe I could tolerate the higher dose a little better. Now we're in early May. I think it was like the first week of May. It's about a month ago. I went back up on the medication and I went into it so hopeful. I went into it thinking like, it's gonna be fine, like my body's gonna be used to it, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. And so I went into it literally so hopeful that my body was going to be just fine and that it wasn't gonna react negatively, like it was gonna be okay. My stomach was just not right. I was constipated. My appetite was just so off. Food just felt very like dull, like nothing was exciting, nothing sounded very good. It was just kind of sad. And I'm someone who's like, I've worked really hard to enjoy food, and I really do enjoy food, and it's part of like my business, making recipes and doing all of that. So that was really hard for me to like, it's just sad for me to like, food is just very dull. And so that was happening, and then I was getting like very, very lightheaded anytime I would stand up. And there were a couple times where like everything went black. I was kind of like blacking out a little bit, and that was really scary, but that's a very like common side effect of this medication. And so at first I was like, okay, this is fine, like in a couple of days I'm sure my body will get used to it. And then like a week passed, that was still happening. Another week passed, that was still happening. And I was like, okay, that's when it really started to kind of mess with my head a little bit. And I was like, maybe this like isn't going to be what I thought it was going to be. And I was really just wanting to push through. It's like, okay, I can push through these physical side effects, right? Like I'm not actually passing out. Like I can just get up slowly. I can just push through these until my next MRI, which is in late August. And I just want to see like what it's doing to the tumor, because I don't know that. Like I don't know if it's actually shrinking the tumor. That's the goal, but it doesn't always do that. It may just be, you know, blocking my prolactin. It may not be affecting the tumor at all. And so I wanted to give it the best chance to shrink the tumor, which is why I wanted to just stay on that higher dose and suck it up until August. So hopefully at that point the tumor hopefully would have shrunk and I could try coming off of the medication. That was in my head what was going to happen. Flash forward to like 2 weeks ago, I just started experiencing what I think, looking back on it, was depression, which I've never, that's something new to me. I've never experienced that before. I'm someone who's been through it with my mental health. Like I started struggling with debilitating anxiety as a 7-year-old. And so, you know, I've experienced every anxiety symptom in the book. I was medicated for years and I came off of it and I started having panic attacks. Like I have experienced anxiety through and through. I know, your girl knows anxiety. And the last few years, since I've really kind of shifted my lifestyle and I've started living a more holistic lifestyle, and like a slower lifestyle, and I take care of my mind, my body, and my soul, I've managed that and I haven't had a panic attack in years, and it's not something that affects my quality of life anymore. It's just not something that I really have to deal with anymore. Yes, I still do run more on the anxious side, but it's not like, I can't say that I struggle with anxiety in the way that it impacts my life anymore. So I've worked really hard to live a lifestyle that keeps myself feeling good, mind, body, and spirit. This, you guys, was something that I've never experienced. It got to the point where I just felt like I had this cloud of sadness in my head, and it's really something that again, you hear people talk about depression, and it's something that you just really don't understand until you're in it, right? With most mental health things. But I was at the point where like I would wake up and feel just like I want to cry, and there was like no reason for it. And then I would like try to roll out my yoga mat, because usually, you know, move my body, make myself feel better, and I would just end up laying on it and cry. And I would go on my walks, and I was so emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed that I couldn't even like find a podcast or anything to listen to, and I would just walk in silence and tear up the whole time, like fighting back tears the whole time. I would drive in silence because I couldn't even get myself to turn on music. I was just driving to my parents' house and just sobbing my eyes out. It was just like this level, and like my brother called me one day and I just like was crying. I couldn't even talk to him without crying, and like that's never happened. And so it was just a level of sadness, and a level of sadness that I didn't know how to fix. And I think that's what was really scary and hard for me, is that I've, you know, gotten to this place where I know how to take care of myself, and that like there's been a direct result of an improvement in my mental health because of the ways that I care for myself. With this, like, it felt like nothing I did helped release that sadness in my mind. It was just the craziest thing that I've never experienced before. And I was kind of gaslighting myself a little bit, because my mom was like, hey, you know, this doesn't feel like you. And I was like, I know, but you know, what if it is me? Like, because I was also doing like an inner healing session, and I know I was more teary the last time I did one of those, because it's just working through deep stuff, and I've been walking through a lot of deep healing and just walking through a season with the Lord of like really deep refining work. And so I was like, maybe this is just me, maybe it's PMS, like really just like gaslighting myself a little bit, and just trying, because I just did not want to be the one who was like, I didn't want it to seem like I was just blaming my medication for everything. And so I was just really wanting to just push through. I was like, I'm gonna give it another week. And my friends and my mom was like, have you talked to your doctor yet? I'm like, I just want to give it another week. I just want to see. And it's like, I really just wanted to push through so bad. But it just, after like a week of feeling like so low like that, I was like, yeah, you know, this isn't me. Okay, maybe this is my medication, and maybe I just need to like surrender the control in this, because I think I was kind of like, well, when I go to my MRI in August, I want to do everything I can to make sure this thing has shrunk. So I'm going to try to take this into my control, and I'm going to just push through. I don't care what it's doing, how it's making me feel. Like, I'm just going to push through until August, and then we'll go from there. But I really just had to like surrender that, and I'm like, okay, I don't think this is what my body needs. And I was like praying, I was like, Lord, like, I just need help. Like, I need guidance in this, like, you know, like I just need some guidance and help knowing what's best for my body, because that's really, at the end of the day, all I want to do is just do whatever's best for my body. And I think all of those side effects were just a sign that this level, this dose of this medication is just not good for my body, or it just doesn't agree with my body. My body just doesn't love it. And so I'm now, like, I went back down on the medication. I'm gonna get everything retested in a couple of weeks, but I'm just in this place now where I'm just really just surrendering. And this whole journey, this whole health journey has been just a surrender every day, you know, of like, okay, I want so badly to control this. I want so badly to just go get this taken out of my head. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, please just let me have this surgery so I can get this tumor out of my head and never have to worry about it again. But that's not really realistic right now, just because that's not how it works in the medical world, like with insurance and everything. And now the game plan for me is just to surrender this, to try to not think about it, to not dwell on it, and to just surrender it until August. That's going to be my next step. I'm going to go in August. I'm going to get my next MRI. We're going to see what the tumor actually looks like in my head after a year of trying this medication and everything. And then I'll go from there, and I'm going to reassess. Maybe I go see a different doctor that's a little more just different in the way that they do it. So I'm going to reassess the whole situation in August and just take that next step then. But like, I don't have to worry about that right now, and I'm just going to focus on being grateful for the fact that this isn't impacting my life right now. I am able to take half a pill once a week, and you know, even though my levels were slowly going back up, it would have been a while before I actually showed symptoms of the tumor again, because it was going up so slowly. So I don't have to worry about showing symptoms from the tumor at this point because I'm taking this half a pill once a week. It kind of keeps it like very, 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 very slowly going up. So I'm just trying to rest in that and like focus on being grateful for that, because I truly am so grateful that it's not cancer. Like, it's nothing crazy. It's just, it's annoying. And it may be something that I do have to kind of play this game with for the rest of my life, which is annoying, but it's fine. And like, I'm just trying to find acceptance for that. That's kind of like what I've been walking through this past month, and why it's been really hard for me to know how to show up on here, on social media. And I've also still been having, like I've told you guys, I started 2 new jobs, and so I've still been showing up for those jobs and just learning how to show up in the world as my most authentic, true self, because I value authenticity so much. And you guys know, like, has been day one. My why behind what I do is to be the person that I needed when I was struggling. And so authenticity, vulnerability is the reason I do what I do. Like, it is such a value of mine, probably the top one. And so I never want to feel like I'm hiding these things from you guys, but sometimes it's just so, like, in those moments when I didn't even have the emotional energy to turn on music while I'm driving my car, thinking about talking about all of this on social media was just another level of emotional exhaustion. And so, you know, it's like I would share during that really, really hard week, I would share, like, it's just been a really exhausting week, it's been a really hard week, but it wasn't like, hey, I'm struggling to get out of bed, I am just crying all the, like, I wasn't going so into depth with it because that just felt so exhausting to do. Another thing I'm trying to do in this season is like, okay, how can I take my biggest pain points, right? Like loneliness, sometimes feeling unseen, feeling misunderstood, feeling unheard. Like, these are some of my biggest pains recently, and this is just the season that I'm walking through. So how can I take those things and be the person that I need? Because in being the person that we need, so if you're feeling lonely, how can you be the reason that someone else doesn't feel lonely, you know? Like, how can you be that for somebody else? That is going to help heal your loneliness too. And so that's what I'm trying to like tap into in this season. And even when it comes to like the people around me, which has been one of my biggest struggles, is learning how to live life in community in a healthy way. Because I've never had it before, I've never had like a true community, because I grew up, like, once I graduated high school, I was like in New York, in Hong Kong, and like I was just hopping around. I never had community. And even in high school, now for the first time in my life, I'm like here. I have a year-long lease. I've decided, like, I felt peace about staying here for this season of my life. And I think one of the big reasons why I was led to stay here is to heal these parts of me that are like so wounded. And I realized throughout this past month that I still have such a hard time needing other people. I have such a hard time struggling with feeling like a burden to other people if I like need them, or if I just struggle to feel like I'm inconveniencing people, and I just don't want to inconvenience anybody at all. So I'm just gonna keep everything to myself, and I don't want to bother people, so I'm just gonna keep it to myself. And like, I don't want to look like I'm weak or whatever, so I'm gonna keep it to myself. And these are all very deep wounds, some of the deepest wounds of my heart. And so I believe, and I'm so thankful that I've been led into this healing work, but it's been very difficult. And so I feel like too, with just this, been struggling with this deep loneliness, I feel like with that, this is going to allow me to, you know, this awareness of it is going to allow me to show up in my friendships better, and show up on here better, and be what you guys need, and help relieve your loneliness, and help you feel seen, help you feel heard. And for my friends, help them feel seen, help them feel heard. And like, just trying to be the person that I need, or that I've needed in the past. That is just my goal. So yeah, that's just what I'm trying to do, is just talk to the Lord about it and be like, okay, God, like, how can I turn this into something good? And I actually want to share, one second. This is one of my favorite books. It's called Every Moment Holy. So what it is it's just prayers for different things in life, like even like super mundane things. So a prayer for washing of windows, for home repairs, for students and scholars, for waiters and waitresses, for medical providers before taking the stage, for the changing of diapers, for leaving on holiday. Like there are just prayers for seemingly mundane things and like random things, but they're actually so beautiful. And one of the first days that I had moved into my apartment, I just thought I would open it up. I was just eating dinner and I was like, I'm just gonna open this up and like pick a random page. And of course I opened it up and I opened to a prayer for a meal eaten alone. And I wanted to share this with you guys because it's been super healing for me. And if you are also struggling with loneliness, I feel like, you know, this is for a meal eaten alone, but it's also just for loneliness in general. This is something that's been so healing for me. So I'm just gonna read this. It says, "You created us for companionship, O God, for the sharing of burdens, for the joining of celebrations, for the breaking of bread and fellowship. And so it's not unnatural that we should taste a particular sorrow when eating a meal alone. Sit with me and linger at this solitary table, O Lord. Sit with me as my father, sit with me as my brother, sit with me as my shepherd, sit with me as my friend. In the absence of human companions, may I know more fully your presence. In this silence where there is no conversation, may I more clearly hear your voice. Use my own momentary loneliness to work in me a more effectual sympathy for others who are often alone and who long for the companionship of their God and of his people. Let me afterwards be more intentional in the practice of hospitality. Let me sometimes be the reason the loneliness of another is relieved. Meet me now in my loneliness, O Lord. Meet me in this meal. I receive it as your provision for my life in this hour. Amen." That, even just as I'm reading it, I have chills. It like kills me every time. Like, just use my own momentary loneliness to work in me a more effectual sympathy for others who are often alone. And let me afterward be more intentional in the practice of hospitality. Let me sometimes be the reason the loneliness of another is relieved. And just knowing the Lord more clearly in this season. And I just have seen so much purpose in this season of loneliness, and I'm still in it. And so I know that there's still purpose in it. And so, I mean, it's creating deeper friendships for me. It's allowing me to learn the art of hospitality and what that looks like. And like, one thing that I've started doing because of this season is making sourdough and for people, because it allows me to be like, hey, I made some sourdough. Can I drop it off at your house? Like, when can I drop it off? And like, just little things like that. And like, today I had a little bit of extra time, so my dad works at the church, and so I brought him coffee, but I also texted a couple other people and was like, hey, can I bring you coffee? And just these little things that actually fill us up a lot. They help relieve my loneliness, but I'm also doing kind things for other people. It's just like turning your pain into purpose, right? Okay, how can I turn this big pain point in my life right now into something with a lot of purpose? And so that's what I'm really working on in this season, and just really working to heal a lot of deep wounds in my life, and letting myself need other people, letting other people in. And I honestly feel like this next season of my life, and something that I'm really going to be working on next, is just having fun. Because I never have fun. I don't say I never have fun, but it's harder to have fun when you live alone. Like, it really is. And as someone who has been struggling in my friendships to see myself correctly, and I like, you know, believe this lie that my friends are better off without me, and like, I don't want to bother them. And so if I want to do something fun, I just need to go do it by myself, because I don't want to bother my friends, or I don't want them to tell me no. You know, like, it's hard I'll take it personally if they tell me no. And it's like, I need to just put myself out there. And so that's something I'm going to try to do more of, and that I'm going to be more intentional with, is how can I love the people in my life well, because I have friendships that I have prayed for. And so instead of putting up walls like I usually do to protect myself from potentially getting hurt, how can I actually break down those walls and step onto the other side of those walls and embrace community? And how can I turn this into something with purpose? and deepen my friendships, deepen my relationships, and be the friend that I actually really desire right now. How can I be that for my friends that I have? And so that's what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to try to just like welcome more fun in my life. I've done a lot of the deep, brutal, painful, crying in my prayer closet healing work. And I think I'm just being led out of that season now into a lighter and more fun season. I feel like the healing work for me now is going to be having fun, and we're definitely still going to be in our prayer closet most days, but I just think my next step of healing is just having fun with people and being a little bolder, and like checking in on my friends, asking them how they're doing. Randomly, if I want to just randomly go to a coffee shop with a friend, or like go to the farmer's market with a friend, ask them. And who cares if they say no? Like, it's fine if they say no. It's nothing personal if they say no. And just like, you know, pushing myself out of my comfort zone for the sake of having fun and making memories and living life. I struggle so much to do that, and living alone is really forcing me to like have to do that, otherwise I go insane. It's not good for man to be alone, and I have really experienced that living alone. And so it's like I have to be a lot more intentional spending time with people and like reaching out to people now that I do live alone, because if I don't, and I work with myself most of the time outside of like a few meetings that I'll have at the church now, but it's like I will go days without seeing anybody if I'm not intentional about it. So that's something I'm working on. That's kind of what I've been walking through. What my intentions are moving forward is to have more fun, to let you guys in, to be real with you guys, to help turn this pain that I've been walking through into purpose for you guys. And that's where we're at. More YouTube content, that is still a goal for me, and I want to thank you guys for giving me grace, because every time I come on here I feel like I'm gonna be posting more regularly, and then it's like another month passes. But it's been a hard month, but I'm feeling like we're walking into a lighter season. So I just want to thank you guys for sticking around and for being here and for watching this video. Hope you guys are doing well. Leave a comment, let me know. Just let me know how you're doing. If there's anything I can pray for you for, let me know. I would love to pray for you. I go to war for my friends in prayer, so I would love to do that for you too. If there's anything I can pray for, drop it in the comments. Let's encourage each other. If there are any videos that you want to see, also drop those in the comments. Like I said, my goal is always to be posting more on here, so I'm going to be doing my best to do that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you watched this far, I love you, and I am so thankful for you. You truly mean the world to me. So I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. I want to encourage you today to just go check in on a friend, because that's something that's so important. I feel like we can so easily just like see our friends on social media and assume we know how they're doing, and just unintentionally see their Instagram story that day and feel like we've checked in on them. But my encouragement for you today is to actually check in on your friends. Go pick one person, a few people, and just ask them how they're really doing. It's something that could literally change someone's day, impact their life. Like, there's so much power in checking in on each other. So I encourage you to do that today. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye, you guys.